Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. A million apologies for that technical hitch there. We are live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We are on over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We are on Twitter Spaces, myjoyonline.com app. This afternoon, President Akufo-Addo asks the rich countries to allow heavily indebted poor African countries like Ghana to swap their debt with climate interventions.
The radical restructuring of the global financial architecture to accommodate the demands of the developing world is of urgent necessity. It is not fit for purpose.
We have details as he announces launch of climate initiatives that will create jobs in Ghana at UN Climate Summit in Egypt. Also this afternoon,
we are pleading the president to bring us to do what our teachers need, because some of the parliamentarians, their students are not attending government school. We are the ones attending the government, and it will affect us.
Passionate plea from children in public basic and secondary schools as more teachers join the strike, which has grounded academic work for pupils in kindergarten, primary, junior and senior high schools.
We will be playing ampe and we'll play football too.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes.
You wish every day were today, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't want your teachers back?
We want our teachers back.
Well, government and teacher unions remain at a deadlock over talks to resolve disagreement over the appointment of a banker as the Director General of the Ghana Education Service.
Our position is that appointment has been made, and it's been made as such. And they are of the opinion that there are certain considerations that must be, looked at. So it's still on the table.
Well, CEO of defunct Beige Bank, Michael Nyineku, pleads not guilty to multiple counts of stealing of more than 1 billion cedis as he's granted bail in the 200 million cedis.
We decided to let some space so that we can do everything, so that when we come to court, we don't have problems to how we arrive at figure A or figure B. So it's about a thorough investigation, and now we are satisfied.
We have sports.
Key Black Stars players are set to miss out on the 26-man squad for the upcoming World Cup. Details in 20 minutes.
And we'll talk more about that defamation suit by Bulldog against Shatawale.
I filed the suit because there's no substance in most of the things that he put out. I'm doing this for my family.
We have details of that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Many thanks for choosing us. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please stay for details.
We are pleading the president to bring us to do what our teachers need, because some of the parliamentarians, their students are not attending government school. We are the ones attending the government.
Well, a passionate plea from Moselle Usman, a JHS2 student at Adabraka AMA, that's the Kanda AMA Primary School in Accra. His cry mirrors sentiments of thousands of school children stranded across the country today as more teachers join the strike by the three unions, NAT, NAGRAT and CCT. The teachers are unhappy about the appointment of Dr. Eric Nkansa as the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, who they say is alien to education system. Their strike is to force government to withdraw the appointment, but on the ground, thousands of school children are bearing with some unsure what to do to cope. We have our reporters monitoring the situation across the country. Well, my colleague Richard Kojonyako has been on this beat for us here in Accra.
So this is the Kanda AMA Basic School. It's actually a cluster of schools. We also have the Ring Road East Junior High School. And it's obvious that the teachers are not in class. The kids have a field day. Others are playing, they are doing their own thing. They are not in the classroom, they are loitering around. You see a couple of teachers, but they are not teaching. The schools are opened all right, but the kids are simply not engaged in any academic activity. So you see some of the kids playing football, others are engaging in all manner of things. What's your name?
Yaira.
What class are you?
Class 3.
Class 3?
Yes.
So where are your teachers?
They are on strike.
They are on strike?
Yes.
What did they tell you? Yesterday, were you in school?
Yes.
What did you learn yesterday?
I learned about how to read English language.
Your teachers came to school yesterday?
No.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine.
Where are your teachers?
Sir, please, I don't know.
Did they come to school today?
No, sir.
Yesterday too?
No, sir.
So what have you been doing today?
Sir, please, we was in the class and they come and lost the door.
You were in the class and they came to lock the doors?
Yes. It was break and go out for break.
What's your name?
My name is Sandra.
Sandra. Why are your teachers?
They are not there.
They are not there. What have you been told? Where are they?
They have gone to strike.
They are going to strike?
Yes.
They've gone on strike, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
So what have you been doing ever since you came to school today? Tell me.
We have been playing ampe and we play football too.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes.
You wish every day were today, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't want your teachers back?
We want our teachers back.
So what are you telling your teachers and government?
I'm telling them that they should come to school and come and show us things so that we'll learn.
My name is Mozambique Osman.
Okay. So what have you been doing today?
We have not been learning, but we wish our teachers were in school today to teach us, because we will lose a lot before our teachers will come back. And because I don't see if the president we are pleading the president to bring us to do what our teachers need, because some of the parliamentarians, their students are not attending government school. We are the ones attending the government, and it will affect us. It will not affect them. So their future is further than us. We are now coming into the future. So they should help us, and we are pleading them to make our teachers wish for them. That is what we are pleading the government to fulfill. But we heard that they are going for a meeting today, and we know that they will bring a positive answer for us.
Hey, how did you know all of that they were going for a meeting today? You listen to the news a lot?
Yes, I listen to the news, because yesterday I heard the news, and we are all sad yesterday, because we knew that yesterday will be a better day for us.
Well, that's Richard Kujonyako interacting with some students at the Kanda AMA Primary School here in Accra. I'll come back to Richard because he's been monitoring that meeting between the teacher unions and government on this. But let me take a quick, trip to the northern region and join Martina Bugri. Reports that the situation is a bit dire. She joins us on the line. Martina, bring us up to speed on the situation there.
Well, the situation in the northern region is not different. The schools are all locked up. Those that I have visited are locked up. You go to the school, you find only the security man and a few students who are either playing or have gone to school and they are returning home because there's no teacher in school. I visited a couple of schools. All these schools, I must say, were adhering to the strike strictly. The teachers were not there. Just a handful of students who were there. Most of them were seen on the way to these schools. I found some of them, some were playing under trees, some were also swimming in a stream on my stretch. So I found some of them there. And most of them who went actually were back home because there was nobody to monitor them, and they thought it wasn't right to stay in school. So most of the schools are actually not in school today.
Okay, that's Martina Bugri with the situation in the northern region. In the Bono East region, Anas Sabit is monitoring the situation. Anas, tell us how these children are coping.
Same as the reports from other areas, in the municipality, I've visited quite a number of schools, and almost all of the schools are under law. And unlike what we saw yesterday, people going schools and the authorities bring them back home today.
Unfortunately, I have a terrible connection to Anas Sabit there, but in essence, the situation is no different in the Bono East region. Now, Richard Kujonyako is with me in the studio. He's just returned from his round. And all of yesterday, you've been monitoring that meeting between the teachers and government. Tell us about what we know.
Well, so it ended in a deadlock, and so they are returning to the table today at 2 p.m. And they are hopeful that they will reach a conclusion today. And so that is what we got for the teacher union. But they were asked not to speak about what transpired within that meeting. So we are hoping that the meeting will come out today.
But you've been interacting with the Deputy Minister in charge of Employment and Labour Relations.
Exactly. So Bride Rekubrobe is hopeful that they will reach an amicable settlement with the teacher unions today.
Our position is that appointment has been made, and it's been made as such. And they are of the opinion that there are certain considerations that must be, looked at. So it's still on the table, and I'm sure tomorrow, God willing, we will rest this matter.
Well, we've been talking about the situation and how it's left our children hanging around, some not in school, others playing, amongst others. Let me bring in Bright up here. He's Executive Director for Child Rights International. We're grateful for your time. I'm sure there's a situation monitoring and it's rather worrying. What exactly are you learning that can be done about the situation between government and the teachers?
Well, it's sometimes a worrying situation to see that issues, administrative issues, would have direct effect on children. And I'm getting worried about it, where at the end of the day, we use the children as a trump card to get our decisions through. Because if you look at what is happening, it has nothing to do with the children, and children should not be the basis for which we want to place on the table for discussion if the appointing authorities are not willing to go by their decisions. And I think that should be ruled out, and it should not be of a consideration, because the state requires that whatever action that we take, whatever we do, it should be in the best interest of children. So if appointing authorities is saying that they are appointing X person and you want a Y person, that should be a decision that should be between you and the appointing authority, and how you want to go about it. You decide that. But to use children, I find it a bit uncomfortable. And if it is a trend that we establish, it's really going to affect the welfare of our children.
Ms. Apia, we're grateful. That's Executive Director for Child Rights International, Bright Apia. Well, that meeting will happen later this afternoon, and my colleague Richard Kudunyako will bring us details subsequently. There's more also on myjoyonline.com. Let me take you to the court now, where the CEO of Defunct Beige Bank, Michael Nyineku, has pleaded not guilty to multiple charges of stealing and money laundering filed against him by the Attorney General. A total of 43 charges have been filed, with other offences, including fraudulent breach of trust, attached as well. Deputy Attorney General Alfred Chiayeboa told an Accra High Court the alleged crimes were discovered following investigations into the bank after its license was revoked and placed under receivership by the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Nyineku denies the allegations and has been granted bail. Court correspondent Joseph Akable joins us with more from the court. Well, Joseph, the AG's office, we understand, has some light on what investigations uncovered regarding movement of depositors' funds around. Tell us more. Hello, Joseph.
Yeah, hello, Emefa.
So I'm asking about what the AG's office has discovered.
So the claim is that investigations revealed that various sums, mainly being depositors' funds, were moved around, and this comes to a total of 1.2 billion cedis. The allegation is that he moved them into companies in which he was either the sole shareholder or majority shareholder in, and these were funds that were transferred without board approval or without the knowledge of the depositors who are giving those monies to their beige bank to be kept there. And so this is what the AG believes amounts to stealing, because as at the time the bank's license was revoked, those amounts of money have still not been refunded, and if not for the intervention of the state by way of the monies that were used to carry out the banking cleanup, it would have meant that the depositors will not have had access to their funds.
But Mr. Nyineku denies these allegations?
Yes, his lawyer, Adotia, told the court that those were regular banking transactions that took place. He says that if he had committed any crime, he would have hidden it, and it's because those transactions were regular, that is how come the AG's office were able to have access to documents which forms the basis of facts, and that at the right time they will demonstrate how those transactions do not amount to the commission of crimes.
And he was granted bail. Let's talk about the conditions.
It's a bail in the sum of 200 million cedis. There are 3 sureties. 2 of the sureties are supposed to be justified. And so 2 of the 3 individuals will be signing documents to indicate that they will ensure that Mr. Nyineku cooperates with the court. They are supposed to provide evidence that they own landed properties worth 200 million cedis before he be allowed to walk away from the court.
And that process is still ongoing, or he's met the conditions?
He's not been able to meet as we speak, and that condition is still ongoing.
Okay, and you've been speaking to the AG's office about all this?
First, Deputy Attorney General Alfred Chiayeboa explains what accounted for the delay, because Mr. Nyineku was initially arrested in 2018. then he touches on the next line of action.
We are satisfied with the conditions set by the courts. I think it is fair to us. It's also fair to the accused person.
I mean, why did it take so long to bring this particular matter? I mean, more than 2 years. It went to the circuit court and it was withdrawn. But what was going on behind the scenes?
Yes, you see, in case like this, you need to have time to do a thorough investigation. We are talking about figures. It's not something that you can conjure. You need to have the experts to go through the books. So we decided to let some space so that we can do everything. So that when we come to court, we don't have problems to how we arrive at figure A or figure B. So it's about a thorough investigation. And now we are satisfied that all that we need to do.
In terms of concluding on your facts, you did indicate that as of now, those monies have not been returned. So it means that the deposited funds that the state paid back for us, you're not able to trace those monies.
Exactly, that's the point. The depositors needed to be paid. The government had to pay. We are now in court to prosecute and, if possible, recover. You know, if you paid an amount of 1.2 billion from the taxpayers' money, you need that money back. You can get it back only when you take a legal action as done today. So this, and I can assure you that there are other cases that also very soon hit the courts. Done a lot of investigations to recover those monies.
I mean, if you say other cases, are we looking in relation to the other collapsed
exactly. Banks, microfinance, savings and loans.
All those are matters that you are seeking to go after the individuals who played one role or the other that resulted in the collapse.
Exactly. Let me sound this warning to those who were involved in savings and loans, microfinance, and other banking institutions. If you were involved and the state had to cough money to pay your depositors, you'll be called upon to answer certain charges.
And the state is ready for this particular matter with your evidence and everything?
We are very much ready.
That's the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Chia Yeboah. They're interacting with court correspondent Joseph Akable. Let's head to Sharm el-Sheikh now for COP27 in Egypt. And President Akufo-Addo is asking rich countries to allow heavily indebted poor African countries to swap their debt with climate interventions. The president has been addressing the world. Yes, United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP27. Ghana is currently facing crippling economic crisis fueled by huge debt. Well, Ghana's debt situation is proven to be a major stumbling block to getting an IMF deal in time. President Akufo-Addo says the global financial sector that has left countries like Ghana with little help is no longer fit for purpose.
We must, as a matter of urgency, mobilize and scale up adaptation finance inflows to ensure that vulnerable countries are able to meet their adaptation needs. It is critical in this regard that the developed world makes good its long-delayed pledge to mobilize and make available $100 billion annually to the poorer countries to assist in the fight against climate change, and commit, as agreed at COP26 in Glasgow, to doubling resources for adaptation. Furthermore, it is proposed that a radical restructuring of the global financial architecture, as proposed by the African finance ministers, to accommodate the demands of the developing world is of urgent necessity. It is evident that with these polycrises, that it is not fit for purpose. And I also urge those who hold African debt to commit to debt for climate swap initiatives.
Well, that's President Akufo-Addo. Well, we understand he's also been outlining a plan to create jobs in Ghana through a yet-to-be-launched climate initiative.
Africa, for her part, must commit herself to resolve the issues of climate change by implementing ambitious measures within her reach. With her vast land, Africa has the greatest potential to help decarbonize the world by absorbing carbon dioxide through regenerative agriculture that requires less fertilizers and reforestation with strong biodiversity content. My government is happy to announce that Ghana is about to launch projects in these areas, which will tackle at the same time climate change at global and domestic levels and social issues by providing people with dignified and sustainable jobs.
President Akufo-Addo there addressing this year's United Nations Climate Change Conference, that's COP27 in Egypt. My colleague Evans Mensah is there for us. We are unable to connect to him just yet. As and when we do, we'll get further details of this. Now, IMF negotiations and the fluctuating cedi top the list of items industries, trading unions and experts look forward to in the yet to be read 2023 budget in Parliament. On the trading front, the Association of Ghana Industries and the Ghana Union of Traders Association are calling for sweeping measures that will strengthen the fluctuating cedi against major parties. They want a review of tax system as well as cutting the duties at the port. They've been speaking on our pre-budget forum yesterday.
One is we've mentioned about the tax structure of our economy, i.e. the VAT structure and the straight levy in that structure. We believe we've aired our opinion on it that it's not the best. We believe a reform could do. Other related policy that myself and a friend contended on was the benchmark discount value. We all know the ramification ever since then till date. And in one of the budget statements, government indicated the intention to reverse it. But it's not only reversing that issue. We've asked for zero-rated import duty on raw materials and selected products.
Issue of this year's budget should center on exchange rate, inflation, interest rate, high cost of doing business, increase in benchmark values, the structure of the VAT, as my brother said, and then escalating prices in the market. That's all.
So that's Dr. Humphrey Eyim Dake and also the president of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng. Meanwhile, experts also look forward to heavy cuts in government expenditure while it works to improve on its revenue stabilization. Here's Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Quartey.
So the budget statement would execute what is in our medium-term strategy. So 1 year, 2023 budget alone will not address all our problems. It will to some extent, but we need a medium to long-term plan of strategy. In this 2023 budget, I would expect to see what are the measures we are putting in place to address our fiscal challenges. Revenue mobilization has been very, very slow. We saw the poor performance of e-levy, our anchor, prior to going to the IMF.
At the same pre-budget forum, economist at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Priscilla Chumesi-Bafo says government will be shooting itself in the foot if it announces new capital-intensive projects.
I will not be surprised to see that they reinstall road tolls because, first of all, the removal was quite something that was surprising. The president hinted about property taxes, the expenditure as well, because given that we do not have, for every cedi that is efficiently spent, it means that it will be good value to the people of Ghana rather than spending on other things that are not necessarily important.
Many thanks for being a part of the pre-budget forum yesterday on the Joy News channel put together by Joy Business and Joy News. This is the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We are on Twitter Spaces, myjoyonline.com, Facebook, and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We've been talking about President Akufo-Addo asking rich countries to allow heavily indebted poor African countries like Ghana to swap their debt with climate interventions. Also, we heard the passionate plea from children in public, basic, and secondary schools as more teachers join the strike, which has grounded academic work for pupils in kindergarten all the way to senior high schools. When we return, we start with sports, and then we hear from music producer Bull God on why he's filed a defamatory suit against Shatta Wale.
I filed the suit because there's no substance in most of the things that he put out. You know, I'm doing this for my family who suffered the most or are suffering the most, and myself as a brand and as a person.
Charlie, in life, something must kill you. And for me, Rock GH, they kill me with juicy local shows, movies, and soaps all week, every week. See, from Monday to Thursday at 9 p.m., Office Palava kills me with laughter and kasa. Then at 9:30 p.m. from Monday to Friday, Odomu Wahala kills me with suspense and drama overload. Then, third Friday of every month is Fresh New Movies Night. Tune into Rock GH on DSTV channel 164 or GoTV channel 117. Rock GH, home of Ghanaian entertainment.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Let's do sports. Mubarak, what do we have?
Start of the World Cup in Qatar, and Black Stars coach Otuado is close to finalizing his 26-man squad. Joy Sports Guardians Daniel Kofichire and Kamaldeen Sulemana have been put on the red list as they are yet to recover fully from illness and injury respectively. Felix Afena-Jan, goalkeeper Lawrence Atizigi, and home-based players Daniel Efriye Banier and Ibrahim Dallad are expected to be dropped from the final list. Notable inclusions are Mubarak Wakaso, Barbara Aman, Majid Ashimeru, Joseph Pencil, and Kamal Sowa. The final 26-man squad is expected to be announced by the end of this week. That's your sports.
You don't hear your name. Okay. Thank you very much. You can read more on Joy Sports. That's on myjoyonline.com/Joy Sports. Now, constructors, laborers, and merchants of building materials are lamenting hikes in prices of cement, nail, and other building materials within this year. The increments in cement prices, most especially, have slowed some construction projects and adversely affected value chain actors. Nana Boachi Dankwa Adam put a spotlight on the issue.
Elvis Osei Safo is the CEO of July 08 Cement Company in Kumasi. He says increases in building materials is a combination of factors, including sharp depreciation of the cedi and the cost of fuel.
We are bearing the brands, the customers too are facing it. I worry a lot about myself, as well as my customers and my workers. Now we have stopped thinking about profits. We are thinking about survival. We are thinking about how to float. We know this may pass, this too shall pass, but we don't know when. Because let's say your salary was 5,000 in a month. Even back in January, 5,000 in a month, you could buy maybe 100 bags per month. Now 5,000, you will buy 100 cedis, so you're buying 50 bags.
Laborers working on a construction site in the Echimakwa district expressed displeasure on how the hike in cement prices is affecting them. Eric Boateng, also a construction laborer for several years, says coming by a job is a challenge.
These days, we don't get work because contractors use their money for cement and other materials which are expensive. If you don't accept the little they give you, the job can be taken away from you.
Well, that's the situation, and they're brought to us by Nana Boachi Dankwa Yadom. Now, let's finally take a look at music producer Boo God. He's also a music artist manager, Lawrence Nana Isiama Hansen. That's what they call him. He's been explaining why he's filed a defamation suit against dancehall artist Shatawale. That's Charles Niama Mensah.
I filed the suit because there's no substance in most of the things that he put out. And this is not the first time he said this concerning Fennec's death. He said the same thing 7 years ago. We went to the police, and there was no substance again. And I let it slide because I didn't take a civil action. And he's brought it up again. So I'm doing this to clamp some of these baseless statements. You know, I'm doing this for my family who suffered the most or are suffering the most, and myself as a brand and as a person.
Well, that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. Once again, and apologies for our technical hitch at the beginning of the bulletin. There's more news on My Joy Online, and the government has cheated us for far too long. CTAC president, also defunct Beige Bank CEO Unico, pleads not guilty to stealing 1.2 billion cedis and has been granted a 200 million cedi bail. And then also strike by pre-tertiary teacher unions entirely preventable. That's Dr. Apak. You can read more on My Joy Online. We have Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil up next. I am Emefa Apawu. Have a good afternoon.